Hello there, our friends. Let's see. Who was number one? Scott was number one today.
Oh my goodness, there's that Scott. Hi, Scott. Good to see you, Miss Jen and the birds. She says, hi, everyone. Jen and John and the birds are here. Well, that sounds like a very nice crowd. I love it. And there's their good old KK. Watch out for that sassy Susie. She can be an asshat at times.
She could be a wild one like that horse on her icon there.
Yikes.
Yep. So, guys, there's just, it's a wild time. And, I wanted to, let's just jump over here to look at the Schuman, because the Schuman, it went bonkers for a while. This again looks like we were talking about like total whiteout conditions. Really like around, this is UTC time too. So, maybe about 36 hours ago, there was a total whiteout and then a little easing up. Then it came back again and then it came back again. This is again talking about the consciousness of the planet itself. And I think that we all sense that there is something unusual with our reality.
Oh, it's pretty wild out there. Good to see everybody in the house. Emperor Rex, hello. And I saw there's an Israel sighting and a Miss Christine Love sighting. Hope that beautiful puppy is doing well. Miss Xenomorphet, hello. Good to see you. Hello, Martine. Awesome. Schumann energy going wild. Yes, it's a little bit beyond wild. So if you already have some things going on and you're already very sensitive, sometimes, not all the time, if you're extremely sensitive and you're pulling yourself into balance and you have a Schumann like this, it can really throw you for a loop sometimes.
Well, this is again, this is the awakening, the apocalypse, the revealing, the awakening, and then it sinks in. And, there's a lot to take in. I think humans have been extremely traumatized. And I think most people are right now at a place where they don't know what to trust. They don't know which way to go. I think there's a lot of confusion from many, many people. A lot of people that wrote off things like extraterrestrial or interdimensional life are finding themselves having to revisit reality in perhaps a different way than they thought it was. I think that's very disconcerting. There's so much going on. Zeno was saying, anybody feeling off? Yesterday I was rather antagonistic. Today I'm feeling super blah. Rather rare for me to feel either of those ways. I'm like 24 hours into a fast, and I've been doing a lot more fasting recently, more of an intermittent time, like making sure I'm eating in a 4 to 6 hour window because I just feel like I need to. It's just like part of the detoxing and fighting off all the toxins that are constantly bombarding us. I felt like there's a periodic need to do this all my life. It actually goes all the way back till I was 11 years old. But I think, Zeno, Jen, I think people that we would call starseed light workers, you are ultra empaths and you're feeling what everybody else is feeling amplified. And we are the first wave that goes through that kind of consciousness evolution. And it can be very, very much a roller coaster.
Well, there's a lot of people who are, just mainstream in the system that are also very sensitive, that are probably having bad days, but they really have no clue why. They're like, wow, I just normally don't feel this way. I don't have these reactions at work. I'm much usually more on my game. But wow, so there's a plethora of people that are starseed light workers that don't know it just yet. They're just sort of new. They're sort of new coming into this world and, having these understandings.
Yeah, Martine is talking about my cats slept for almost 12 hours straight overnight. And Zeno says, yes, all 3 of my cats have been sleeping for 2 days straight. Yeah, that is interesting. Martine, I'm barely eating. I don't get hungry anymore. I make a very, I take notes on how I feel after eating everything. Now, yesterday we had a meal that we have had a million times, and it just didn't sit with me. And it tasted great, but I knew when I was eating it that I shouldn't have eaten that. Just because it feels like something has changed in this reality.
Yeah, for sure. And cats are so interesting. You guys bring that up because when we work on people, usually it's the cats are the first ones we hear in the phone. The kitties are interested, and a lot of times they'll come right up to their human and they'll just lay right on the heart chakra because that's, the biggest, most, beautiful frequency that there is. And the kitties, they want a part of that because they are a part of that. So they like to feel that kind of oneness. So it is interesting that the cats were feeling it. I do think there's some frequency for sure. And, sometimes when the Schuman is trying to bring us up, you just never know when they might shoot off another frequency from CERN or elsewhere to try to pull us down. And in that frequency war, and that's what we are dealing with. We're dealing with frequency wars. We get caught in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree, Martine. Food seems almost alien to me now. I think it really depends on what we're eating. I just think as this goes on, we are not going to be able to, those that are sending fast and going through the upgrades, you're not going to be able to tolerate the crap anymore. The stuff that's GMO, the stuff that's loaded with toxic chemicals, all sorts of other things. I think the situation with the food in the U.S., for instance, has gotten worse. It's good that it's being uncovered. It's good that we have, RFK Jr. doing what he's doing. And, they have started to make some changes that I feel are very important, very beneficial. It's a little late. It should have been done a long time ago. It should never have gotten to that state. But, of course, we'll all take whatever good they'll give us. But we need to push to have more good because we have been overloaded with crap our entire lives. And, yet you can't deny the changes that we're all feeling. Ray says, I don't feel like eating anymore. Martine's craving orange juice. Yeah, listen to those cravings because that is your body. I think a lot of people are now starting to communicate to their body more and really get the signals from your body about what your body wants. So I noticed that when I make a big salad and it's all full of just nothing but organic stuff, if I have a big salad, a real big plate full, with, again, I just use oil and vinegar and I love fresh herbs in there. Then I feel fine. I don't feel sluggish after, and I don't feel like this big drag on me, emotional or energetic. When I have a bigger meal, it just drags you down. Food, Jen agrees. Food doesn't feel right. It's part of the awakening. Civil defense bunker, you all be careful tomorrow during the parades. Bad feeling about false flag events. Yeah, it really sure could. We all know what's going on. That, in that subject matter, there's so much being exposed. We went last night and we talked about that shooting in D.C. and I was looking at comments everywhere and everybody was saying the same thing. They were all pointing fingers at the fact that maybe somebody doesn't want there being peace, right? Well, I think that's part of the big realization.
Yeah, I know. It's like, hello, finally, is someone listening that, they are just trying to cause chaos and more chaos. And, for anyone that's fasting, I just want to say, make sure that those detox pathways are open. Simple things you can do to do that before you go on a fast. It's because your body is starting to get rid of all of the garbage, and your lymph system needs to be open, running full throttle for it to handle that load. Otherwise, you could end up with hair loss. You could break out in a rash, pimples, like all kinds of stuff, because your body is getting rid of a lot of poison during a fast. And if it can't get out through the organs, it's going to go out through the skin. It's going to get out. And that's usually what causes skin problems. Although, usually skin problems are also related to the gut, so if the gut's not doing its job and killing all the boogers, you could end up with other things. So there's just a lot, we do like Dr. Mindy Pell's, if you're fasting, to get a better idea for your particular body type on how to go about that. But, a little bit of fasting never hurts anyone. But a lot, then you need to go and do the work, especially women who are cycling. You don't want to disrupt your system because that can really harm things.
Yeah, so, I know you guys all get it. You're beautiful people that want peace. That's what we want. Again, Om Shanti 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 Om. We want peace. We want to create that world, that loka, that's literally heaven on earth. But, again, we find ourselves always coming up against this wall. There's like a wall that's so big. It's bigger than the ice wall in Game of Thrones. And, they just don't want peace. Well, that's because, again, that's how they keep everything in that illusion. I do think they are losing that battle. When I look at the mainstream media, and I see comments that look like they're coming from channels like ours, and there's one person after another that are looking for good, healthy, natural options because they just don't trust anything in the mainstream anymore. Here we are. We haven't crossed the finish line yet, but the reality of the situations of humans on this portion of planet Earth is starting to be realized by more and more people. And Regina, great to see you. There's another beautiful soul.
Indeed. Yeah. I mean, a lot of like-minded people in the chat. And I think that's just healthy. I think it's healthy in the sense where you're not alone. And sometimes that's all someone needs. They just need to know, okay, I'm not alone. And they can snap right out of whatever bad place that they were just by, a little bit of, hey, you too, so it's really good. And I do love the chats.
Yeah, I do miss things as you guys are all talking about the fact that you don't go out to the public things much anymore, parades, again, things like that. Growing up, my mom would drag me everywhere, and it was fun. And we never had a car, my mom and I, because my dad had the car and he was always working. We only had one car. So that meant we would walk mostly, occasionally take buses. But, it was a blessing because I had time to talk to my mother. And before I lost my brother, he would walk with us too. It's just, there's those things, those interactions that we don't get to have in that relaxed manner because everything is always work, work, work. I think it's obvious for a lot of people now that we're working for somebody other than us. I mean, there's this realization going on. Like when you see the fact that there's minds that predate Homo sapiens sapiens. Wait a minute, what's going on here? This is all part of that realization. And, humans are waking up, but I just don't think they know what to do. What do you do at this point when you realize the situation? And unfortunately, too many people feel powerless. But I think one power we do have is that we can support each other in every way we possibly can.
We can, but there's a lot of different roads people can get sucked down if they're just waking up, if they're vulnerable. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that's just not good. I mean, it's not good, and it can totally bring you into a trap. So you always want to, those that you are talking to, just know about them. Know, for one, that they're human, because there's a lot of automated stuff out there now, and the AI doesn't give a crap whether it's correct or not. It just throws content out. It doesn't really matter. That's its only job, is to make it somewhat understandable, believable, and engaging. It doesn't matter if anything is real or true. So there's a lot of those traps out there.
John Hernandez, ELF or ELF, states no one is ever alone. We have each other. Even though we're states away, one message can make a difference in anyone's life. I love that. That's the way to think. And we are blessed with your presence. Thank you for joining us and sharing that. You know, that's the type of thing that we need to put out there more, because so many times people with the intentions, maybe they don't say anything because they're used to being the oddball. You know, oh, that's the conspiracy theorist. That was always me. You know, they always, you know, were like, oh, he's going off on that again. And, you know, we see things they don't see. Now more of them are seeing what we have always seen. And so, yes, you know, nature is always with us too, as Martine is saying. You know, that's the thing. I do talk to nature all the time. I talk to birds all the time. I talk to our chickens constantly. They have very distinct personalities, and I'm crazy about those chickens. They're so cool. You know, it's interesting to see the personalities come right through. I think it's been such a disservice to have the mindset that we've acquired from the system of the fact that, you know, because some form of life is having an experience in a different body, a different vehicle, a different avatar, that it might be less than. It's not less than. It really isn't. You know, there's one consciousness. Ultimately, this is the greatest mystery, the greatest, you know, occult truth of all, is that ultimately it's all one. And when we get out of the bodies, we understand this much better. It's part of the experience to be totally immersed in a reality that feels like it's the be-all, end-all. But it's not. It's just one little page in the greater life of the soul.
Indeed. And Joe Potter, I tell the flies to get out, open the door, they leave. Thank you. That's right. That's a way to use your frequency to gently guide them out. So yes, everything has consciousness. For me, I look at it and I had an experience where I realized that the vessels and the way they perceive their consciousness are very different. So you might be in a vessel that realizes that it's meant to go right back into the earth rather quickly. So that's the only difference, is the way we perceive when we're inside of a vessel.
Yes, and I think in some ways, even though humans, in some ways you could argue we have a vehicle that is superior in some ways to other vehicles, in other ways not. Yet humans here on Earth during a dark age, they've really been more in the dark than most animals, you know, because animals have this innate knowing. They haven't gone through the psyops that we go through. They haven't gone through the indoctrination, the, again, schooling that's really teaching us a reality that we're being sold. It's always been sales. School is sales. Religion is, again, something that's been used for sales purposes. And then same thing with politics. It's just everything that we start to realize in this world system that's put up on pedestals, they're just ways of controlling us. And now humans know more than ever that that's the case, as we've got two beautiful doves playing games all around the front window there. Boy, are they having a great time flying and just enjoying themselves, enjoying the day, which is getting a little sunnier out there. I hope everybody's having good weather.
Yes, we're blessed to have some sun today, so that's really, really nice. And we've had rain for a couple days now, so that's really nice. And yesterday we had a little bit of a thing happened yesterday, and we ended up draining some water into this bucket. And actually, when that water was draining into the bucket, I was so happy to see it was clear. I mean, it was super clear. There was no black spots in it. It wasn't filled with crud. I was so happy to see the rain that just fell from the sky that we drained into the tub was clean. So that was good.
Well, I did see one study where they were talking about the rain, and so much has been made of the rain, and we obviously know there's a lot of things being spread up there. But the fact that when it was tested against the end product of a public water system, the end product of the public water system was far worse than the actual raw rain. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, Ray, if you're talking to us, how are the puppies? Oh my gosh, I'll always take a moment to be able to brag on our puppies. They are sleeping so soundly. Whenever we work on someone or whenever we do a video, we activate our energy fields. They conk. They're just out. So they're doing very well.
But honestly, getting back to the Schuman and what we've been experiencing, a lot of people have either had trouble falling to sleep, staying asleep. A lot of people have had a lot of anxiety and panic attacks. I think what's happening is really, again, we're energy sensitive. I do think also that there are frequencies that we're being blasted with that are literally causing a lot of this. So it's a process. We all need to keep working on detoxing ourselves of this, dark matrix system that we find ourselves in, and work on elevating the vibrations and the frequency, which, again, the system isn't conductive to elevating your frequency. It's actually the exact opposite of that. We did do a Patreon and a video for the members on YouTube as well. And it was all about sigils, making your own sigils, the good, bad, and the ugly. And that was a sigil that Cindy created. And, we're going to do more on, so I saw a comment out there, and this is why that triggered. The comment was, I want to learn more about the ancient ways. The ways when we go back far enough, can we get ourselves out of the system? What was life like when we weren't in the dark matrix, right? Well, our website is transforming, so there is going to be some changes done.
But we're making a list.
And
so
look,
people can actually get on our list.
We've accepted some help from a family member who is way more gifted and talented when it comes to this type of thing than me. And also Cindy. So she is helping with getting things organized, and she's a blessing, and we thank her so much. There's actually going to be, do we dare say?
Do we dare?
We were going the route of actually maybe we'll even have things like coffee mugs and T-shirts in the relatively near future for the family.
Yeah, and just maybe they'll have something like sigils on it that, you never know. We just never know. But we are rolling around some ideas, and you guys have been great. And whether you know it or not, you've been supporting us the whole time.
Thank you, everybody. It's pretty wild. Quintra says, yes, I've had a lot of anxiety. I usually don't get panic attacks. I've only ever had 2 before this year, but now I'm feeling that I'm picking up on other people's emotions. I don't like that. Yeah, I think that's it in a nutshell. I think, yes, we are getting more, we're becoming fuller humans, because humans, it keeps running through my head. Hue is color.
Hue, that's also a tone. Hue, it's a tone. It's a source tone.
Well, yeah, and then there's corresponding colors to tones. And, frequencies, they all go together. Again, it's always an interaction of light and sound is what we're talking about. It is said that humans are really unique and very, very gifted, but we've just had our gifts suppressed, and I think that's going to be changing. Yes, Send Havoc, EEARTS merchandise is on the way.
On the way. So it's very exciting. Again, a very gifted, talented person has stepped into the ring to give us a hand, and let's just do it. So we feel we're all very excited and can't wait.
So let's see, what did I have here? Oh yes, in the Bible there is this quote. 2 Corinthians 10:4 says, it describes spiritual weapons that have divine power to demolish strongholds and take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. That's interesting. I remember this. Ephesians 6:12, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Okay, so what is that? What is that? I mean, that's talking interdimensional.
Spiritual forces of evil. So are they saying that evil is in the heavenly realms? I'm confused about
Yes, that is kind of like what it's saying in the higher realms. So basically, I think what they're talking about there, to me, my translation is that we are talking about interdimensional beings, the ultimate controllers, the ultimate dark matrix is in a different dimension than ours. And these beings also, when you're talking about the heavenly realms, I interpret that to, you could obviously be talking about higher frequencies, higher dimensions, but I think also they're just literally talking about the heavens out there, other planets, other star systems. But it's something now that I think was one of those things that people heard and it never really clicked. It never clicked. Now, when we have things like this, this is Anna Paulina Luna, the congresswoman, talking about we understand these things are interdimensional. That's exactly what the Bible said. But again, it's understanding that. Interdimensional. So again, we are beings that actually operate in more than one different dimension. Like when you go to sleep, you're attached to the body. There is this thing called the silver cord. It's like a bluish gray kind of color to it that keeps the astral body and the physical body attached. But we're out and about. We are out and about having an experience in a different realm. One that is more just simply mind stuff than it is solid stuff. And it's only solid, again, it's only just different vibrational frequencies.
This is all stuff that's going to be so out in the open very, very soon. But keep in mind, a lot of different entities know more about what is going on with us than we do. So protection is important. Spiritual hygiene is critical.
Yes. So, there we have a validation. Now, what we do have is, again, a lot of our religious systems have been taken over by the dark matrix system. And so there's stuff in there that's intertwined in order to just simply confused. That's really a big part of it, is they just want to keep us confused. And we'll also think, well, if this is right, then that must be right. Then we think everything is set in stone, but it's not set in stone. It's not. In fact, I do feel that the dark control matrix is having a hard time keeping our consciousness in check. I do feel that it's expanding at an exponential rate. And, again, trying to maintain a narrative is a very difficult thing right now for them.
I think with all the chaos that's out there in the world really proves what you just said, that it is becoming increasingly difficult to keep a lid on their play that, they're selling tickets to. So throwing in extra chaos is like buying time, just like we've been seeing here recently.
Yes, and I see the conversations about dance. And if your friends don't dance, then they're not friends of mine. Yes, men with hats. How silly can you get? That's pretty silly. That's the type of stuff we should be having fun with, enjoying ourselves and celebrating. I think, again, the human life outside of a Kali Yuga is so much more than what we've experienced in the Kali Yuga. And yet, there is lessons that are learned, and we have growth that comes from those lessons.
Yes, and Ray, we are just about to talk about that too.
Oh yeah, the chemical spell. Yeah,
the
chemical spell. Did I say spell? Wow. Yeah, let's listen to an update.
CJ McGovern, Interim Fire Chief for the Orange County Fire Authority, and I want to give you a quick update of an operation that we did last night. Yesterday we built a specialized team with subject matter experts. We developed a plan to go do an operation last night, late night, to go get eyes and do a recon mission on the tank. During that operation, our firefighters went in and they were able to visualize the tank. What they found was a potential crack in the tank, which could potentially be relieving some of the pressure in there. We took that information, we got data on it, and right now this morning what we're doing is we are vetting and validating that information. With this new information, it could change our trajectory and our strategy to this event. Last night was a successful operation for this emerging incident and this ongoing incident. There's going to be a lot more information coming today as we sit here right now and vet and validate all that information that we got last night. I want to thank the public for their patience. I know this is a disruption.
Yeah, it's a disruption, all right. So if in case you missed, there is a crack in the tank. It is still spewing stuff. You still have people living right now in public shelters. I mean, this is, gosh, this really sucks. If it's your neighborhood, your home, and then you can't be there, that's really disconcerting, So it gets you really thinking. This is, again, a chemical tank at GKN Aerospace. You got to wonder, was this just bad procedures, bad policy, not updating the equipment? Was it some sort of sabotage? I haven't heard anybody say anything about that. But, it's just pretty wild. We pray for everybody that's going through that pain and suffering. Certainly that's an inconvenience at the very least. This person says, do you think it odd that a chemical link in Garden Grove, California is at an aerospace facility, noticing given all the missing and deceased aerospace engineers as of late? Yeah, that is a good thought. I don't know if there could be something tied up there. I'm sure there's always a tangled web of coincidences that are not really coincidences.
That's what I think. This feels like they're giving so much information. Usually they don't sit there and explain to the public, in detail what's going on unless they have some sort of script in advance. So how far in advance was this put together, and how long have they been at it, and what's going to happen now, and what's the truth? It just does not feel very honest.
No, not at all. Sin Havoc was talking about Christoph talking about multiple contamination zones. Yes. Yeah, and maybe are they clearing areas to no longer be allowed to go in order to set something up like, a new smart city or something with all new technology, or maybe even visitors. I remember there was a movie out there called The Visitors, which was about when aliens come and land and they intermingle with us and start living with us, and causes a lot of tension. I think it was centered around LA too, if I remember right. Orange County, the OC, yeah. Very curious with everything that we're watching going on. Is really curious. And Ray says, don't you forget about me. Don't you forget about me. La 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 la. That song. That's a great one too. All the one-hit wonders. There's so many great one-hit wonders in the 80s.
And I don't know. Maybe I'm just old. I don't listen to enough music, but I don't know of any good one-hit wonders that are recent. For me, it's on my ears. You can watch brand new movies and you see a lot of the music they put in there is from the 80s and 90s, and people still jam at it. People still love it.
Then we have this, the one thing nobody's talking about, well, not the main topic anymore, is that, e-file. And then we have Thomas Massie, and let's listen.
Expect you to name more names in the coming weeks and months?
Yes. Todd Blanche is violating the law. There's still millions of files they haven't released. We know from talking to the victims' lawyers that their own 302 forms haven't been released. We know that files have been over-redacted. I have released at least 3 names of billionaires who are implicated in this. I don't think it's possible to get to convictions with Todd Blanche at the top and with the FBI director, Kash Patel, at the top, because they've effectively both perjured themselves by saying that there's nobody else in the files. Even Melania doesn't believe that. The First Lady knows that Jeffrey Epstein didn't act alone. And here's the great thing, Kristen. Whether I'm in Congress or not, the Epstein Files Transparency Act is a law, and it goes on for years. So if we can't get this Attorney General and this FBI Director to do the right thing, the next ones who take those seats are obligated by law to release the files that these individuals are not releasing now.
Yeah, so, we do have concerns about his overall health. He lost his wife to cancer a few years back, if I'm remembering right. And, again, she was young, and it was tragic. There's been so many losses, way too young, very, very tragic. And, here you go. I don't see how he lost that. I think a lot of people don't see how he lost it if it was legit. And, of course, we had the right yelling about the left, and us not getting a fair election. But yeah, it goes back farther than that, and it really isn't just a right-left thing; it's a system thing.
I'm looking at it, and still, really, what has come of it? What has changed because of it? Are there people still in power? Did anyone ever really step down or slap on the wrist or anything? So I'm glad. I want the information out there. I'm glad somebody's gonna get it out there, but what is it gonna be if it does come out more of the same? It really gets frustrating.
It is very frustrating, and people are almost incredulous. How can you have some of the worst crimes we've ever heard of described, and nobody's going to get charged? That's just insane. That means that there are beings that are above the law. There are beings that can literally do anything they want to humans, and there's no consequence? How is there any justice there? There's not. So, not if you take humans as being free, sovereign beings, which I guess maybe that tells you what they really think.
It does, and looking at the entire situation, still people are, they're going to court, sitting there, paying their traffic tickets, and watching these horrendous crimes take place. And then what? And then what? It's doesn't feel very fair.
I see Miss Renee showed up, and yes, better late than never, and we will always wait for you, and are grateful you're with us.
Indeed.
Yes, absolutely. So I think this is big. I think this is big. Again, it's just a big, obvious bullseye over the target that shows that, this system in place is not what it's made to be. This is a very disconcerting thing. 6 people are dead, over 100 wounded, after 2 indigenous communities in Colombia, South America, Cauca region went to war over land with stones and machetes, then escalated to firearms. The Misak and Nasa communities have disputed the same ancestral territory for generations. Colombian government broke out the standoff. A Colombian government body broke the standoff this week by formally granting the land to the Nasa. The Misak rejected it. By Thursday, the fighting had turned deadly. Homes burned, people kidnapped. Very, very disconcerting. That's really sad. We send, again, intentions of peace and love to the area.
Oh, yes, definitely, and double that.
Yeah, and in case you haven't, if we haven't mentioned it in a while, you can literally reboot your immune system by just fasting for 72 hours. And this has gotten to be, instead of something that was not mainstream, it's becoming mainstream. And I think the first time I did a video on this was maybe back in 2018 or 2019. But we've done that many times, talking about rebooting your immune system by fasting. It's just amazing. Your body is an amazing machine. It's been inhibited, I believe, intentionally, because I think we would have much longer lives, much healthier lives. I think we would have a lot more episodes of clairvoyance and things along those lines if we were optimally functioning. Well, again, this process is one that has been shown in many, many studies. This physiological reset occurs through distinct sequential stages. From 0 to 24 hours, the body depletes glycogen stores, activates autophagy. That's recycling old or inefficient immune cells to clear cellular debris. 24 to 48 hours, the liver produces ketone bodies for energy, which act as an anti-inflammatory signal and lower markers of inflammation. 48 to 72 hours, levels of IGF-1 and the pKa enzyme plummet, signaling hemopoietic stem cells in the bone marrow to awaken and rebuild white blood cells and other immune components. This is just awesome, really, and all you got to do is just fast. Now, it's not easy to fast if you're extremely toxic. You do have to build into it. I would recommend going, again, 16 hours maybe is if you could do it, and eating in an 8-hour window. Do that a few times and then try to extend it out. And then maybe put out there the intent that you're going to eat dinner at 6 o'clock one night and you're not going to eat until 6 o'clock the following night, and then see how that goes.
Yeah, there's certain health considerations that you need to take into account. Everybody's different, and just like I mentioned earlier, Dr. Mindy Pelz is really good about getting into those little details that you may have in your life. So you always want to go into this learning something about it before you dive in. What if you're diabetic? What if you have blood sugar issues? All kinds of things that we need to take into account. But fasting, done correctly, can really, it can give you an edge for sure.
Yeah, now most of the time I'll break my fast either with some good organic yogurt or a salad. That's usually what I feel the body craving. But here they're talking about how it could help people with a recognized procedure that people that get the big C you will often do. Personally, I would never do that procedure. That's just me. But I will fast. And that, to me, is one of the very first things to do. If you feel off, what do animals do? They usually stop eating until they feel better and more stable again. So it also helps reverse age-related immune decline by rebalancing the ratio of inflammatory myeloid cells to adaptive lymphoid cells, creating a more youthful immune profile. Now, prolonged fasting can get to be dangerous. So again, consult a healthcare provider, and why not ask your doctor, what do you think about fasting? And why not ask your doctor, how much nutrition did you actually study in school? Have you taken anything extra as far as, understanding how the body works with nutrition? Because, if you get somebody that's balanced, it could be wonderful. If you get somebody that just goes by a certain allopathic path, then you might find that you need to add a few more ingredients to your healthcare providers.
Yeah, I think that's a good compatibility question for your doctor if you're going in. That's pretty simple. Like, what do you know about fasting? Or even, I think that says a lot about a doctor if they can even say a few sentences about the benefits of fasting. They don't have to know it all, but just do they know the basics? And the other really good question our dear friend Karma Doc said, she said, ask your doctor if they've been ouchied. Just ask them. And that will tell you a lot about your doctor right there too.
Yeah, so I was just trying to catch up on what were you guys talking about? Something getting dismantled. I'm always a little hesitant when it's the old white hats just blew up a type thing, a base and everything, because again it's like we're the ones that have to we're the ones that are being called on to do what we can to break free for ourselves. I do think there can be help coming, but that will usually manifest in different ways. energetic support, emotional support, sometimes showing themselves just to let you know that we're not alone.
Right, exactly. You know, Mary was asking what we know about frequency fences around certain cities. Well, I don't know about that here in this moment, but I can tell you they have been tested very well. And I mean, to the point where, you know, whatever you see them put out for animals, eventually they want to make that for us too. So you see they have those frequency fences for animals. And, you know, they got to, you know, hone in a little bit with the with experimenting with it with our animals. And also, you know, it's probably very easy these days to put frequency fences around anything. I'm sure to some degree they're probably there, we're just not fully aware of it. So yeah, frequency fences, unfortunately, I think it's been a thing and it will be a thing, and it just depends on what kind of frequency are you talking about. Certain frequencies and the days of Tartaria with those buildings and the spirals and other methods of pulling in good frequency. I think there was a time where we had very good frequency in and around everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, fasting can be a first line of defense. Okay, I wanted to just again briefly tell you guys about LifeWave, because we were talking about activating stem cells. So the X39 patch, again, it's not like a miracle pill that you put the patch on tomorrow, you're Superman. No, it takes time. It's again, anything that's going to work with the body's own innate abilities and defenses will typically take a little time. But these are literally patches like the size of maybe a little bit bigger than a quarter. The X39 stimulates stem cells. And with most people, by the time you're in your 30s, you're already getting stem cells that are becoming dormant. They're not functioning. So again, you can have a higher percentage. If you've been fasting your life, you probably do have a higher percentage of stem cells that are functioning better than somebody that never fasts and eats a lot of junk food. Again, it really is a case where each individual is different. There are a lot of different products here. They're pretty amazing. This is our own link, so this does support us. When you buy through our link on LifeWave, it does actually support the channel and helps us to keep doing what we're doing. Because again, YT itself, it's doesn't keep the lights on. But again, we do thank you in all things for your support. Again, Patreon and memberships and all. But, the X49 patch takes the X39 to another level. Then they also have things in there that Cindy could tell you more about as well.
I just want to talk about the animals because they have a specific patch just for horses. And I know people who have used them and they have been able to cut back on their vet bills. And I even used it on Sita. And Rama is using them now. So, I mean, they're just amazing. They're truly amazing. Sometimes they take a minute, but that's with anything natural in life. It's going to take a minute.
Oh, okay. So now it's like hitting home with you guys talking about these certain cities that have these, I guess, frequency fences. Well, Cindy will tell you, I turn pale as a ghost when we drive through Dallas.
Right.
I mean, Dallas bothers me more than any other city we have to go through to get to the West Coast. Doesn't include Los Angeles or anything like that. But when we go through Dallas, I find it painful. I can't stand it. I mean, I'm just like, so I just start getting claustrophobic. And
So frequency fences, in the sense they're not advertising them, but they're there, and you just feel like crap. Yeah, they're there. I know that certain big cities definitely have them just because of our sensitivity going through them. And Mike's had some major issues, and I've had major issues. And luckily, one of us is usually okay enough to drive when we do go through those very, very, very big cities. I mean, it just sometimes feels like you're crawling out of your skin.
So this is the thing to realize. The more empathetic you are, the more of an empath you are, the more your abilities are turned on, the more these things are likely going to bother you. That's something to make note of, because this is part of the Great Divide. At some point, we are not going to be able to tolerate living inside a frequency fence like that. Oh, yeah. No, yeah, DC made me panic 10, 12 years ago, 15 years ago. I haven't been through DC since maybe 2009. So I guess that was about 15 years ago. But back then it used to make my skin crawl. Just, again, because, and no offense to anybody in these cities, I'm just too sensitive for those energies. And I do think there are certain frequencies that are putting out, they're putting out frequencies that the more you're awake, the more your pineal gland's functioning, the more uncomfortable you're going to be.
Yes, indeed. And Promolife is having a sale, and the thing that Mike doesn't know he's going to get me is the unit that goes on the washing machine, because I saw towels, washcloths come out with someone using an ozone, it's like an attachment. It goes on your washer, and it just, everything is washed in ozone, and oh my gosh, the colors are so great, and then you can get rid of all your detergents and everything. So we're going to get one of those, and they're having a sale. So I just wanted to mention that because I saw the sale for Promolife. They're very good people.
Yes, these are the two companies that we've affiliated with. Promolife might have saved our lives, honestly. At one point when we were both feeling really ill after that flying triangle zapped us over around Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which did, in my mind, this thing followed us when we were looking for a campsite, and it was like around 6 or 7 at night, maybe 7 or 8 at night, and it was in April of 2019. I want to say 2020. 2020. It was, because the lockdown already happened. Yeah, it was like 2020. It was actually, it happened the night before we got the video with that thing that's like a djinn. The djinn video, because we were talking about being tailed by this TR3B for quite a while on the backcountry road, and it was freaky. We're towing a trailer, and Cindy's like, it's following us. It's literally following us. And, she was sensing that they were actually beaming and hitting us with energy weapons. And thank you, KK. We couldn't do this without you, KK. And so then we both got pretty sick, and ozone was the thing. I think maybe more than any other single thing that helped us. So if you don't know about the healing potential in ozone, it's very, very real. We use it all the time. We used it today.
Yes, there's a difference. There's medical grade ozone, and that's what we use. It's a very high quality. It's mixed with oxygen.
It's not an air filter.
It's not an air filter.
No,
That's not the ozone that we're talking about. This is medical grade, and if you don't know much about it, I implore you to learn about it, because I really feel it. Yeah, it did save our lives.
Yeah, and this is an investment, and we are not wealthy people. So when this came up, and the guides were the ones that told us that we're going to need this to survive these times, you can see these, the basic package are starting out around $1,000. And
Life has all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there's all different things that you can buy. I mean, you could basically ozonate your water and then drink that water. Again, this is giving you more oxygen, which oxygen can definitely heal the body. But we put probably $3,000 into their products or more. Probably spent $4,000 or $5,000 at this point in time. So we totally believe in it.
Well, it's saved on so many other things. It's, again, across species. You can use this with your animals, and that's what I like about it. If it's safe enough for Rama and Sita, it's good enough for me.
Absolutely. And then there's all these other signs. We were talking about the sky in Round Rock, Texas change, and Mr. MBB had brought that up. But it appears that a lot of people were making videos of this really odd phenomenon.
Amazing.
It's just pretty wild, the changes in the atmosphere. From our understanding, what we've gotten from our guides, we've never actually seen, not one day, the sky as it really is. Like Project Bluebeam has been in effect our entire lives. This is from Mick Thomas, Sterling, Colorado, via Mr. MBB 333. Again, it's just pretty wild, the things in the sky, from the obvious plastering and grid patterns, tic-tac-toe, and then now we got so much other interesting phenomena going on. The sky looked layered. Yeah, it's like obvious. I remember way back, we used to think that they were trying to block out like planets or different types of objects. I do think there are ships that block out our view of ships by utilizing clouds. Again, we want to go back to the Bible and talk about Moses out in the desert, lost for 40 years, being guided in circles, because, again, this journey should have taken 2 to 3 weeks. It took them 40 years. They were in the desert following the Lord, Lord, which, again, means more than one thing, including, again, reference to the Anunnaki. In the desert, they're following a pillar of fire at night and then a cloud during the day. It's so easy to conceptualize this now as extraterrestrial or interdimensional. When you look at this, what's going on with this unusual red light here? There's so many strange phenomena going on right now. You can't keep up with it at all. It's too late to be the sun reflecting off, an airplane up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what about that? I mean, it looks very curious. So many new things are coming up in the sky. I think, unless you just really don't want to know, everyone knows that there's other beings out there. And again, if you don't know, you don't want to know, or you're incredibly, incredibly lazy. I think the thing to do now is to start separating what is authentic and what kind of beings are out there and authentic, and which ones are just our made up military, ships, and just to confuse people and spread the chaos, because that seems to be what they do best.
Yes, absolutely. I do think that, as Martine says, I think the food has gotten progressively less healthy. I think, honestly, if you ate a McDonald's hamburger back in 1975 or something, it wasn't as bad as it is today. I don't even know if there's any real beef in it at this point. You don't know what it is. It's really pretty scary when you think about it. We ourselves have not eaten any fast food. There's been times when we've laughed and joked after a long day or whatever to say we're going to go get something, and I never do. Never do. I'll cook something from scratch, being tired, and at least I know where it came from and what it is. This is, again, from the White House dropping another video of a UFO or something. Well, it's unidentified. It is flying. It's moving through the air. Are there life forms in there? Is it unmanned? It's pretty wild, all the stuff we have to choose from now. It's just overwhelming people, I think.
It is. It's overwhelming, and just something that we all have to look at. We need to stop and take a minute and realize, okay, where have I been getting my information, and what is true? I think people are just really sitting with, well, what is true? And that comes from you. It comes from within. Anything, if you've gotten it external, no matter how much you think that external source is real, it's got to come from within, because you don't know what you don't know, making experiential moments in your life even that much more important right now.
Here is one that looks to be more like what I guess we would classify as a plasmoid, something that's maybe not of this density, being solid. It looks more like could literally just be an entity.
That one does have more of a plasma feel, like it can move and work with the current plasma field that we're working in right now. And as of like 2 years ago, you could actually take your iPhone and video right next to the sun, and you could see these little elementals running around up in the ether, and it was quite interesting to watch them. I thought it was very exciting, and that's not something someone can just make up. No, that was something you could do with your very own phone, which, I don't know. They usually, when these things come up with our technology and they realize that they can see into the ether, they're very quick to erase that or get rid of that and then cover it up with another technology. So I don't know if that's possible now. I haven't tried, but it was 2 years ago. And I have a digital camera that I got from my mother years and years and years ago. And that's the only camera that will get my orbs, because I love to take orb photos. And we go out and Michael do his mantras and call in the orbs, and then we take pictures. And it's fun. And you get a bunch of orbs. It's just amazing. That's the only camera I've been able to do that on.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a pretty clear one. This one's kind of typical saucer, maybe a little bit rounder than average, but yeah, that's a good one. This was in Colombia too. Lots in South America. Have you ever heard about this? More people need to know that King Tutankhamun owned a dagger made from material not native to Earth. Scientists found the blade was made from meteorite iron. Came from outer space. Did the entirety of the dagger come from somewhere else, or was this, oh wow, did you see that rock? Let's make King Tut a beautiful dagger out of that rock that fell from the sky? Or could it be that it was actually a gift from a delegation that came from elsewhere?
Imagine that. I wonder how many other tools are made from funny metals that are not from here.
Yep. Yeah, it's just wild again. And then when we look at King Tut, we wonder, was he from here? This one is supposed to be Nevada, and it does feel like it. We spent a lot of time out there. We've seen a lot of strange things. These are actually, that with that on the hill, that reminds me of when you come in on the outskirts of Vegas, maybe an hour away from getting into Vegas. Right outside of Nellis. That's where I think that's what that feels like. And then you got some of these jets coming in, probably from Nellis. We lived in that area together for about a year and a half, but Cindy spent decades in the area.
Yeah, I lived there for a long time, and, I've seen things in the skies that are unexplainable the entire time.
This is a great video. I mean, seriously, I'm, maybe it's a fake, but I'm not feeling it as a fake. In fact, it really does feel, that area feels very familiar. Almost like if we were to take a ride back that way, I would know exactly where that hill is. Yeah, interesting. So, again, is it ours? Are they all ours? They could very well be. That's the reality.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, there's so much coming out now.
Absolutely. It is an interesting time. Northern Portugal.
Dave Lewis sighting.
Is that a Dave Lewis sighting?
Dave Lewis sighting, yes.
Good to see you, brother. Hope everything is well. I picked 2 green squash, 2 yellow squash, and a cucumber that came in. We are quickly going to be overwhelmed in certain things coming in from the garden. Dave has amazing gardens, the greenest thumb we know.
He's the best.
Yeah, and this is very curious here.
Looks like a jellyfish.
It does look like one of those jellyfish type of things.
Yeah.
It's mostly blurry. These type of little things make you feel it's more legitimate, though, when people are fumbling and bumbling and trying to get it into focus. Is it 2 things circling each other, or I don't know? That's a weird one.
That is interesting. It definitely feels like it has like that plasma thing going on with it, right?
Yeah, it really does. It really does. There's so many different types out there. And there's a lot of stuff, too, that might be very, very fake. This is Viktor Grebennikov. Now, I've seen this come up before. I think this is legit in that this person was somebody that had built technology that would actually work, and then it gets suppressed. We've seen a lot of that. We've seen, again, patents. Look at that. Well, we've seen stuff going back to World's Fairs that have been very fascinating, to say the least.
I know. I mean, that just looks like pure fun.
Yeah, I mean, talk about fun. Why aren't these things out there and available? I tell you, next handful of years are going to be mind-blowing. Mind-blowing with everything coming out, all the new technology. New comparison from the Dow releases show a small UAP over the water alongside a 2008 Lockheed Martin MKV prototype footage. The MKV concept involved multiple autonomous kill vehicles for missile defense, tested discreetly at the time. The objects have similar size, shape, and hovering characteristics. So in other words, again, this could be our own military, but the realization that our own military works with other entities that are not Homo sapiens sapiens, that's part of the big disclosure. Our military is actually just a facet of a much larger military. Unfortunately, it's one that doesn't, view us in the best light. They look to us as more of a resource, again, to be controlled and manipulated. And there's been so many people, like this is Bushman, and talking about the real beings that were captured or taken after crashes, and how could these ships crash if they're so far advanced, right? Well, again, how advanced really are the militaries on the planet? Way more advanced than we're told. Way more. Because ultimately, there's some militaries on the planet that have been waging galactic war for a very long time.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that don't make any sense out there. One of them is, that's a fair question. How can they come from all these places and then still crash? I guess somebody said, I think it was Lily Blade last time, she says, there's bad drivers everywhere. I agree. Bad drivers everywhere. And then I look at the Bible and I look at, it's talking about the Middle East a lot. And then how could we get the names like Mark and Paul and Thomas and stuff coming out of the Middle East? I mean, wouldn't those be like not like John and Paul and Luke? I mean, those are very Caucasian names, huh?
Well, that's the way it's evolved, that's for sure. Flying bowling ball. This person's flying his drone in California. Out of nowhere, a black sphere shoots past. Keeps his camera on as best he can, but the sphere is fast and deadly silent. Appears to be some sort of metallic appendage on the side of it. Wow, okay. Again, there's so much stuff that is fake, but then when you see some stuff that, you're not sure to file it in the fake or real pile. Sometimes there are real. We've caught so many orbs of all different kinds over the years, even in videos. We used to make a lot more videos just sitting out in the yard in Nevada and talking about things. I really enjoy that because that's kind of like how I could kind of channel, just go off on a tangent and share, but somehow it seems like it would call in beings too at the same time.
Just want to say a quick thank you to Peter. That's great advice. Add copper to your pets' water bowls, to your garden, and to your life. I like it.
There's a roll of copper somewhere on this desk, I thought, or 2 or 3. Yeah, it does absolutely help. This is going back 1893, Chicago's World Fair. everybody's carrying an umbrella, even in dry weather. Parasols, right? But yeah, this is just what Peter was just talking about. These umbrellas were equipped with copper antennas at the tip, a copper lining inside. They captured atmospheric ether, the free energy that fills the air, transmit it directly to the body. The result, energy recharged, increased vibrational frequency, even instant healing. Men used copper canes for the same effect. Then everything was replaced with aluminum, which captures nothing. That's why we were told later, never use an umbrella during a thunderstorm because it was highly conductive. This is really fascinating to think about that. I think there were so many things that were hidden in plain sight. And just now we're kind of discovering. I mean, look at these. What are those? Telegraph? Maybe. It's just understanding, because we're uncovering a lot of these technologies now. Yeah, absolutely. The flow of chi in the body. I remember a time when people told you there's no such things as chakras. What? Are you kidding? Aura's not real. That's woo-woo. No, you just basically believed in just lies and distortion, because, auras have been filmed and camera captured. Kirlian photography, and chakras are right where they said they were. And many people can feel and sense their chakras moving. Many people can't. Some people can. There are meditations, which, I think I've shared some over the years, with activating an individual chakra and drawing in life force through it. We plan on doing a lot more instructional material moving forward.
Yeah, there was a time where, gosh, if you believed or talked about an aura or talked about a chakra, you were very, very bad, or you were insane, or that was just the dumbest idea. There's no such thing as blah, blah, blah. Always go back to, we don't know what we don't know. And sometimes if you're just not absolutely sure, you fall in that category. But look how open people are about it now. So times have changed. And yes, the science that comes up, the science is also helping to change those people who were kind of stuck in that perspective of there's no such thing. So in some ways, I guess we do need the science. It's just, it needs to be broken out of that box a little bit more.
Yes, we have to reclaim the real science and get rid of the woo-woo that they sold us for all of our lives, really. One of the best pieces of evidence that Mount Popocatépetl in Mexico is literally an alien base. Well, it is interesting. I mean, there's been so many orbs filmed going into volcanoes, active volcanoes. It's just not even just Popo, but Popo has been very, very active over the years. So what are they doing? Are these drones? Are they just out on reconnaissance? Are they coming, back in from being out there watching the humans and reporting on what the humans are doing to the, reptilians inside the Earth?
It must be just space Uber, I'm sure. Dropping off, picking up, maybe they like McDonald's. I don't know. They're obviously doing something. I just wanted to point out, Dave says, I used a piece of copper connected to a piece of zinc in the soil. It not only produces voltage, 0.8, but seedlings are growing stronger and faster. I love it. Thanks for that tidbit, Dave. Everything you share on here is wonderful. Thank you.
So I'm getting ideas to ring our bed in copper. Ooh, why don't we just, we'll make add it into the bed frame.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Sounds good. This is weird. This is Kazakhstan. Treasure hunter searching for a lost tomb and treasure of Genghis Khan in Kazakhstan was shocked when he saw rocks moving rapidly in the area he was researching. It wasn't an earthquake. I'll play it for you. Listen to the sound. Feels like there's something magnetic going on there.
It feels a little weird.
Very weird. I mean, they could literally be over the base of somebody. Kazakhstan, interesting place. It really is. When we look out there, you see some interesting things. It's an area that doesn't really get a lot of coverage. Let's just take a look while I'm thinking of at the quakes. It was relatively quiet. The biggest quake is a 5.5 in the Philippines at this point in time in the last 24 hours. Then we have a 5.0 in the Philippines. Everything else is less. So it could mean that there's something bigger developing. It's actually pretty quiet right now. But, when you look over into some of these areas, this is Kazakhstan, that's kind of like the heart of Tartaria. I think there's an awful lot that's really out there that we don't know about. And again, I think part of the thing with keeping the U.S. at odds with Russia and China and then the Soviet Union before that is we don't get to really fully immerse ourselves in that culture and learn about all the things that they know. This is another way where we are kept segregated, apart from each other. This is newsreader Laura. It's I don't know if this is real or not. There's been so many people that have had their eyes lizified. Is it real? I mean, that is a real phenomenon. Believe me, it's real. I think there's a lot of us out there that know it's really real. Is this particular one just not real? You got to judge for yourself. But I know it is a real phenomenon. I don't know if this one's real.
Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we understand the basically like 5 or 6 media companies that control everything. Who do they really report to? Who do they really report to? Is it beings in inner earth? Could it be somebody at the control center in Agartha or Shambhala or Shangri-La? This is a second angle of a Colorado Bigfoot that feels a little suspicious to me. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it looks a little weird.
Hey, George, can you see me? Can you see me, George? George, can you see me? Is it good? Should I come out a little bit more? No. They'll recognize the suit. That's it. Crouch down.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. We're going to be famous. But I totally believe in Bigfoot. I just think this one feels a little bit, kind of guy in the suit type thing. But, hey, everybody's got to make their own division, to mind up in their own mind. Mind up in their own mind. Decide for themselves. This technology sends sound directly into your head. This official demonstration, MPS physics, the professor uses a device that emits an ultrasonic beam at 65 kilohertz, which is inaudible. He overlays music onto it, the Eagles. The sound doesn't come from the device. It's created inside the beam itself. The result, he points the beam at specific people in the audience. Only those in the beam hear the music clearly. Everybody else hears nothing at all. This is directional sound technology. Now imagine what could be done on a large scale. Targeted messages, psychological operations, invisible sonic harassment. This technology has existed for a long time. And it's much more advanced today. Yeah, this is old back in the day. This gets me thinking about the fact that now all of a sudden, David Wilcock's videos are everywhere. It's like, I think people now take him a little more serious because of everything that happened than maybe they did. Maybe they had written him off, in some way, shape, or form. But now it seems that people are going back and wondering, did he know something? Did he share something that was a little too much?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that these things are so real. So you have to keep in mind that maybe it's not yours.
So when he's describing this, then he puts it out there to people. And then they're all cracking up. Now, the thing is, you can't hear anything because we're not there. But, some people hear it, other people don't. And again, the kids are all laughing and just amazed at what's truly, it looks like magic, but it's just science. And that basically has been used on humans forever. It really, really has. Just think all the way back, to, again, the visitations that were given, the biblical visitations. And yeah, it really changes everything, doesn't it? Where the deceased cremated already in the Stone Age, the first signs of human cremation date back 100,000 years. Yeah, again, our history is not what we were told. Homo sapiens sapiens, we were alongside the Neanderthals and Denisovans. They, again, had larger brains. They were more muscular than us. Why did they die out and we didn't? Could it be that we were the replacement for things like Denisovan and Cro-Magnon and, again, Neanderthal? I think, that a lot of evidence points that way. So, were we ever really as backward as they make it? My thought is no. I really don't think we've ever been that backward. Even when we look to times where they were working with stone more and not using as much technology that was obvious, like in this age, I think they had a greater understanding of how to live in harmony with the earth itself.
Yep. I mean, they've just kept us backwards all along.
Yeah, it's like Zeno says, I think it's funny that people think in terms of the Flintstones, that's what they sold us. But I think that the reality is just probably the opposite. This guy is unbothered, coasting along, the river of life and just enjoying himself, being one with nature. Yeah, look to nature for the answers.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you guys for joining us for this. We appreciate every one of you. It is a blessing to be able to share this time with you guys. Also, let us know, would you like just like open forum nights where we're just kind of going over whatever you want to focus on? That sounds fun to me as well. It would be very, very exciting to just kind of wing things and see what everybody wants to go down, what path. Cindy's going to give us some tuning forks and some retuning here.
Okay, a huge thank you to Miss KK. We appreciate your support, and also prayers going out to Ms. Xenomorphed. I saw you're going in for surgery, and our friend Carrie and our other friend Lori. So prayers out to all of them. Here we go. You guys are amazing. Source bless and namaste.
Much love, guys. I just have to comment because Ron had put a question out there. Change it from prehistoric to post-historic. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. And, again, you can reach us at evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com to make a session for, again, biofield tuning, Vedic astrology, life coaching, whatever subject you want to work with, we will work with you. We've worked with thousands of people all around the world. It's been the greatest blessing to, again, be able to communicate with you guys and interact on a one-on-one basis. It's just wonderful. Much love, source bless, and namaste. Oh, and I almost forgot. Loka, samasta, sukhi no, bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may my thoughts, words, acts, and deeds contribute to the happiness and freedom of all. That is my wish for all of you guys. Namaste.